Good morning, Wildings. It's time for another intuitive tarot card reading. Today we're going to ask for channeled messages from Spirit regarding what your person was thinking or feeling the last time the two of you saw each other. So if that sounds like something that feels good to hear today, stick around for the video. Hey there, Wildings. Welcome to your reading for what your person was thinking or feeling the last time you saw them. As always, I have left a brief description of each reading in the very bottom of the description box. So if you're wanting to practice some self-care, maybe avoiding triggers, or you're just not feeling connected to your intuition or whatever your situation is, that's always there for an option for you. But for everyone else, I'd encourage you to head to wherever your intuition is sending you, whichever pile or crystal you feel drawn to, whether that's the first pile, rose quartz, second pile, the blue apophyllite, or the third pile, the purple fluorite. So heading wherever you feel called, and I will see you there momentarily. Hey there, pile one. Welcome to your reading for what your person was thinking or feeling the last time that you saw them. So if you chose this beautiful rose quartz crystal, this reading is probably for you. We're just going to use this traditional tarot to get messages from Spirit regarding what your person was thinking and feeling the last time you saw each other. I think this is going to be interesting, pile one. Let's see what else comes out. Can we get any more messages, Spirit, about what pile one's person was thinking or feeling the last time they saw each other? Can we get any more messages? We clarify the Justice card. And the Six of Wands, please. And the Six of Pentacles, please. And the Nine of Wands, please. Interesting. Okay, pile one. There's a little bit here. I think I'm gonna have to pull some more cards to find out a little bit more about what your person was thinking and feeling. But I can tell pretty much straight away that your person felt like was probably before you guys ran into each other, whenever it was that you saw each other last. Before then, I think your person knew that they weren't showing up as a team player with you. From this Three of Wands and Nine of Cups in reverse, I'm getting that they weren't satisfied with how they were showing up for you. They knew that they kind of weren't contributing to the relationship the same way you were, and they definitely felt that inequality. This inequality probably had to do with a few things. I'm hearing that maybe some of you were with someone who maybe were not yet perceiving the truth of this connection when you were in connection. But I'm kind of getting heavy separation vibes, especially from this Five of Swords. So I'd say that the two of you probably saw each other, maybe in passing or something, like after you'd like entered into this separation stage. And before the time of your separation, they definitely weren't seeing the truth of your connection or understanding its depths. But regardless of not really seeing the truth of the connection, like the deepness of it, they were very, very aware that it was not an equal connection. Like they weren't being as much of a team player as you were. They weren't contributing as much to the relationship as you. And I think part of the reason why they weren't contributing as much was because they were like super insecure about a lot of stuff in their life. So the Ten of Pentacles can indicate kind of like, it's kind of like the peak of the Pentacles energy in terms of like kind of finance, wealth, and kind of like how you're showing up in the physical. And the Six of Wands is like kind of like a very victorious and kind of victorious energy. So I'm getting that like how they were showing up in the world was not like matching what they considered success or victory, or like what they considered to be like kind of how they wanted to show up in the world, like in terms of like their quality of life, their finances, their job, or whatever it was. So I'm sensing like a lot of their lack of investment in this connection was to do with their own securities about their own life. And so they weren't able to give as generously to this connection as you, based on their own insecurities. And I'm sensing that it was this person that potentially let this connection kind of go. And I think when they saw you, they were really regretting like going into that solitude period with you, because they knew that they'd kind of given away their chance for happiness and true like relationship alignment for the first time in their life. The cup suit has a lot to do with like love and relationships and emotions, and like definitely when they saw you, they were very aware that them like abandoning this connection was like impacting their ability to be aligned and happy. But at the same time, they kind of weren't going to be aligned and happy in the relationship either. Like they'd kind of like were a little bit stuck between a rock and a hard place because of their insecurities. They weren't giving in this relationship the way that they wanted to. And so kind of like they couldn't win. Like they felt too insecure to be a real team player with you. But then, and so they kind of like had to let it go. But then in letting it go, they knew that they were letting go kind of one of the only things that made them really, really happy in their life. And so they, I think like seeing you again, like definitely brought up that realization that they'd let go of a real chance for happiness and alignment, but also they weren't ready for it because of all this stuff that they needed to work on. And so when they saw you, they realized that they were going to have to put in some hard work to like kind of overcome a lot of their insecurities so that they could give as equally to this connection as you were, and they could be an equal team player to like for you. I think with this Nine of Wands and Knight of Pentacles in reverse, like these two have a similar kind of energy because they're both kind of entailing kind of like patience, persistence kind of energy, but the Knight of Pentacles is more of like a like manifesting energy, and the Nine of Wands is kind of like, I would say more of like a resilient, more I would say kind of a more practical energy in comparison. Like even though Pentacles is a practical suit, like the Knight is like kind of that real manifester and kind of like making it happen, whereas the Nines is I would say a little bit more down to earth, and like a little bit more basic, I would say. And so I think maybe this person was like kind of bypassing the whole like manifesting good things in your life and really just focusing on like hard trauma work, and kind of like I'm getting like not really focusing on any joy that kind of makes that trauma work kind of light and easy. I think when they saw you and they felt so bad about how they treated you, and also about letting something go that actually made them super happy, like I almost feel like it was like almost a form of self-punishment to almost not do it the easy way and to try and do it the hard way instead. So the Nine of, like, the wand suit is like kind of a very fiery energy. So the shadow of that can be kind of like stubbornness, pig-headedness, whereas the Pentacles energy is kind of a bit, it's much more feminine and earthy. And so kind of, instead of approaching this work in like a more earthy, like go with the flow kind of way, they were definitely approaching it with more like stubbornness and willpower, I'm getting. But that was like actually part of them almost punishing themselves for being in this rock and this hard place. Like, I'm not getting that they actually had compassion for what a tricky spot they were in. They kind of couldn't win either way. But I think, I don't think they had a lot of compassion for like the insecurities that they had to work on. I think they kind of expected that to be like snap done, like you should just meet this person and be able to get over all that stuff. So I think them like doing really, really hard work, like laborious work, and not really working on their stuff from a place of kind of like joy and happiness, was actually like a form of self-punishment. And I'm getting that it was like really seeing you, that like it just like hit them like a ton of bricks. Like, I'm getting that it like hurt their heart so much to see you again. Like, I don't even know if this person actually talked to you. Like, it seems like they were kind of in their own head, if that makes sense. Like, I'm getting just so much in your own head, like fighting with yourself energy. Like, I don't know if they would have even been inspired to reach out to you in any way. Like, I think they were very aware of seeing you. Like, maybe they passed you on the street. Like, potentially you didn't even know, I'm getting for some of you. You didn't even know that your person saw you. But yeah, I think the last time they saw you, they just like went heavy into this kind of like this self-punishing energy. But at the same time, when they saw you, when they saw you and like were having this conflict between like being insecure and also knowing that you like definitely could have made them happy, they did start to imagine a life with you more heavily just from running into you. I think maybe when you left things like before they saw you last, like you maybe didn't end it on super great terms. And when your person saw you the next time, like either passing on the street or just like maybe you didn't even know, they were able to kind of see you differently, because the charge from like your kind of bad ending had kind of died out, and they like were just kind of more in this like happiness and alignment and like loving you energy in a little bit more of a pure way. So when they saw you, they kind of like started imagining a life with you, which is funny because like they were very much lacking this like manifesting energy. So it's almost like seeing you triggered that to kind of like resurface in them, and they almost like stopped giving themselves as much of a hard time the moment that they saw you, and actually started coming back to this Pentacles manifesting kind of version by like really just daydreaming about a life with you. Yeah, so I'm getting that it was kind of seeing you. Like this Tower in reverse is telling me that it was seeing you that kind of like almost stopped this pattern that they were in around like kind of self-betrayal. And they almost like I'm getting with this Page of Wands in reverse, they kind of like I think they stopped working so hard in like a very physical way, and started just like using their imagination about a life with you a bit more to inspire them from like more of a compassionate place, rather than like this really like giving themselves a hard time kind of place. So it was actually, for your person, seeing you was actually so positive. And yeah, so this Ace of Pentacles right way up is like heavy manifesting energy. So this is really funny. Like I can kind of see how all of this played out for them. Like kind of their past of like knowing that their insecurities were stopping them from showing up in the relationship. And then knowing that not being able to give to you was also making them unhappy and like depriving them of happiness. And then like the bad break, like making them go into like heavy, like try so hard mode and like not manifesting. But then upon seeing you, they like kind of let go of a lot of that and just started using their imagination in a positive way, way more. And so they're kind of like almost seeing you like kind of overrid all of that like self-flagellation that they were doing before they saw you, and actually like pretty much set them up for a kind of like a new way of dealing with their stuff. So they were dealing with their stuff in a much more positive, powerful way, and like this kind of imagining a life with you was like motivating them to kind of like essentially manifest their own healing, is what I'm getting from this. So it was actually super, super fortunate that your person ran into you, because like before they ran into you, before they saw you in whatever situation it was, yeah, they were having a really, really tough time. And they were giving themselves the toughest time ever. Like I'm getting like heavy self-critic, heavy, just like not a lot of self-love and compassion here, honestly. So I think there's definitely like a mix of people here in terms of like what actually happened in this interaction. I'm getting for some of you that maybe you spoke to them, and maybe the way that you spoke to them was like very kind and compassionate. And so they were kind of like able to take that compassion and stop beating themselves up so much. And then for the others of you, it just, I think to them at least, you felt really light. You felt almost like better off like out of this connection than in it. Like I'm getting like in this connection for the people who didn't speak to their person, like you felt a lot lighter, and your person seeing you feel like kind of light inspired them to like kind of pursue the same lightness. Like they kind of like almost gave up their own heaviness and their own self-flagellation in that moment, because like I think some of the beating themselves up was coming from like just so much guilt for how they treated you, and like seeing you be like lighter out of this connection, I think it kind of like gave them permission to like stop like berating themselves for how they treated you. Like I think seeing that you were okay like actually was kind of the inspiration for them to be a bit lighter and kinder to themselves. I'm getting like, I'm not really getting any vibe that kind of anyone here really had like a deep and meaningful with their person. Like maybe you did, and maybe that's what turned it around. But I'm sensing for most people here that it was either like a passing by and feeling the lightness, or a very brief kind of kind conversation with like lots of like kind of compassion that really shifted it for this person. So I think, yeah, it's definitely a bit of a mix. But I'm getting that it was a very brief interaction, probably after you guys had been separated for some time. But yeah, like seeing you kind of lighter and happier gave them hope for their own lightness, for their own happiness. And like that hope was really what helped them shift this kind of like negative way of dealing with the situation to a much, much, much more positive one, for sure. But let's see what else we have about what your person was thinking and feeling the last time you saw each other. Can we get any messages? I think they began to kind of trust the process a little bit more the last time you guys saw each other. Like, I think seeing you like seem better actually created a lot of trust for them that they could actually be better. Like, I think when they're in this self-flagellation mode, they were kind of like operating under this premise that like they were always going to be the bad guy and like kind of never get it together. But seeing you definitely like created a lot of like trust in them, that they could be better, and they'd kind of seen you lighten up, and they trusted that they could do the same if they just like put their focus on healing. Because I think maybe before they saw you, their focus was more on beating themselves up and giving themselves a hard time. But after they saw you, their focus was much more on like hope and healing and happiness, which was just like a huge shift for them. Like I'm getting like, it was kind of like their default mode to go into this self-berating, self-criticism mode. But then like really when they saw you again, it like shifted them in a huge way. Like their focus shifted to something much more positive. Do we have any other messages about what pile one's person was thinking and feeling? So I'm getting that they like were probably more of a divine masculine, and when they saw you, they were like, this person is such a damn like either queen, divine feminine, sovereign, like whatever fits based on your gender identity. Like they were really respecting your sovereignty, and just like I think it just kind of like reignited their passion for you. They kind of like remembered why you're so special and why you're so great and why they love you so much. Yeah, they definitely like saw you and absolutely thought the world of you is what I'm getting. Do we have any more about what pile one's person was thinking and feeling the last time they saw them? So I think like definitely when they went into that interaction, they were definitely very frustrated, feeling not enough, self-sabotage, fear and ego issues, jealousy, lack of confidence. But then after seeing you, they kind of like shifted into this like palm tree, which is stability, security, growth, endurance, flexibility. Like I would say the not enoughness wasn't completely gone, but it like dialed down so much. I think they like realized a lot about how their like insecurities and feelings of not enough are kind of like just like kind of dragging them down, and when they kind of like were feeling this not enoughness, but then like becoming aware that that's kind of the pattern that they were playing out, they were able to kind of shift into this more stable and secure way of like looking at themselves, also like focusing more on their own growth. Like I think they started to recognize that what they needed to do was grow, not to keep berating themselves, is what I'm getting. So yeah, there was definitely a big shift kind of from one energy to the other the last time I saw you. They saw you, sorry. I think that was your person like coming through me talking in first person then. Definitely when they saw you, huge shift for them. But let's see if there's any last words. So I allow myself to rest. I reap all the benefits of my hard work. So I think this has to do with this shift away from this like kind of like almost like re-traumatizing themselves, like revisiting all their trauma. They like actually allowed themselves to like not do that all of the time. First of all, allowed themselves to rest and like enjoy their life. And also like in that space, they created a lot more flow for them to actually reap the benefits of their work. Like I think they were almost like not seeing the fruits of their labor initially, because instead of like kind of like doing some trauma work and then like sitting in the like enjoyment of that work kind of getting embodied in your body, they were actually kind of just re-traumatizing themselves and just like really not creating any space to reap the benefits of their hard work. So that was a huge shift for them. And then we also have I'm filled with creative energy and I'm ready to manifest. So I think definitely this kind of like manifestation card coming up, like this big shifted them definitely into this like manifesting, creating, like focusing on the hope, focusing on the healing kind of energy rather than focusing on this not enoughness and like all this like kind of berating energy, for sure. Yeah, like I think maybe potentially pile one, you probably didn't think that much of whatever interaction you had with them, but this interaction, like I really think was like just a huge gift from spirit, because it just changed so much from them, like more than you you could have known had you potentially not got this reading. Like I think like, I understand why Spirit wanted to channel these messages through me today, because like, I think there would just be no way that you would have this much of an idea of like how big that actually was for your person had you not been here. Because this is like huge, and I think it was just like very unexpected, just based on the kind of interaction I'm sensing happened. But I think I'm going to leave that here, pile one. I hope you got all of the messages that you needed today. I definitely feel like Spirit was sending you here for a reason. But if this reading resonated, please like, comment, and subscribe, because I would love to see you on, or see myself on your feed again very, very soon. So interact with my page to make sure that that happens. And I will see you next time. Hey there, pile two. Welcome to your reading for what your person was thinking or feeling the last time that you saw them. So if you chose this beautiful blue apophyllite crystal, then this reading is probably for you. As always, using your intuition and discernment for any messages that come out of this reading. As it is a general reading, there'll be some messages for some people, some for others, and maybe better interpretations for your situation. So it's just important that you're always checking in with your intuition throughout the reading. But let's get started using this traditional tarot. Spirit, can we please have channeled messages regarding what pile two's person was thinking or feeling the last time they saw each other? Oh, this is gonna be interesting. We get channeled messages regarding what pile two's person was thinking and feeling the last time they saw each other. We get clarification on this Tower card. And the 3 and 4 of Cups and Wands. And the High Priestess, please. Okay, pile two, I would assume that the last time you saw this person, you guys were breaking up. Based on this 3 of Swords energy, as well as this Tower moment, seems like there was like, this feels like a really big destruction, like a really big breakup. And especially with these cards here. So 4 of Wands right way up is like a harmony marriage card, and 3 of Cups right way up is like kind of like camaraderie and support. So these coming out upside down with this card is pretty much definitely like just heavy, heavy, heavy breakup energy, like a real disharmony, like a real lack of support, and just like lack of camaraderie, like definitely like huge breakup energy here. I would say for pretty much everyone here, the last time you saw your person was when you were breaking up. And I think for your person, this breakup was extremely, extremely painful. Like I'm getting like super, super kind of painful energy, especially with the 6 of Wands in reverse. I think this 6 of Wands might indicate that like to me, it feels like punch in the gut, especially kind of with this artwork. Actually, I've only just noticed that it's like kind of coming out of her gut. But yeah, for your person, this breakup was like a real punch in the gut. But at the same time, I don't think your person was not expecting it. Like maybe they were actually foreshadowing this break within themselves for a long time. Or even like kind of believing that it would end in a way that like manifested its end, if that makes sense. Like I'm kind of getting a little bit of self-fulfilling prophecy energy here, especially with these cards. So I'm getting like that this person like probably sees you as this like kind of Queen of Wands, like passionate, beautiful, radiant, like fiery, sexual, like magnetic kind of person. And the way they see themselves is probably like a bit emotionally unavailable, a bit emotionally void, a bit I'm getting like kind of immature and not ready for a relationship kind of vibes. So I think like on some level your person was like almost expecting this action to happen, like this breakup. Like I'm getting that it was like it hurt like hell, like they felt like they were punched in the gut, it was like destroying them, but also they were kind of like prepared for it at the same time. But I don't think that preparation necessarily made it hurt any less. Like I think maybe the preparation actually made it hurt more somehow. Because I think like, yeah, I'm getting like heavy, like your person was like just not mature enough or emotionally available enough to actually work as a team with you. It's funny because like High Priestess and Magician energy like are kind of similar. Like kind of High Priestess is like a very intuitive, can't be fucked with, kind of wise woman kind of archetype, and the Magician's kind of the same in a more divine masculine kind of way. But I'm getting that these were maybe your, these were kind of like more your, like spiritual positions in this breakup, whereas these were more of your, physically manifested positions. Like I think in the breakup you were like very brave and courageous and, just like kind of named that it wasn't working and that it needed to be over, and your person was like very emotionally available or shut down. But I think while they knew that this was coming, like I think kind of that knowing came from their higher self, like kind of knowing that they weren't ready and they needed to go like maybe do some work on themselves or just, yeah, become a little bit more emotionally available in the physical. But yeah, I think like you definitely had a strong intuition that this was not working and that you guys needed to end, because what you wanted at the end of the day was someone who was going to be your equal and your teammate. And that just like was not happening in this relationship. So it seems like potentially you ended the relationship. I'm getting heavy, like you ended it with them vibes. And it was like kind of like a big turbulent breakup that like essentially hurt this person a lot. But because you knew that you deserved something better, like you deserved more of a team player, someone who communicated and was more available, and potentially not as self-sabotagey as this person. But let's see if there's anything else for you, pile 2, about what your person was thinking and feeling. I'm just getting lots of pain, to be honest. Yeah, so I think this, this breakup kind of, like I'm getting kind of actually this whole relationship kind of cracked the way that your person thought of themselves. Like I think they potentially thought of themselves as kind of like way more together than what they actually were. And this relationship really shook them up a lot, and really kind of highlighted all the ways that they needed to heal and that they weren't ready. And that some of the stories that they were telling themselves were kind of like essentially fibs to make their ego feel a little bit better. But yeah, I am getting that your person is like kind of heavy divine masculine with this Emperor card coming out, and you're probably heavy divine feminine. So I'm also kind of getting, like, especially with this divine counterpart kind of energy, that you guys are probably like have some sort of soul contract with each other, whether that's like soulmate, twin flame, or kind of whatever. And I think this break was like kind of really necessary for your person to like realize a lot of stuff. Yeah, especially with this 5 of Wands coming out. Like I think this break was kind of like 5s in numerology generally represent some sort of conflict or kind of like deconstruction, like on the path to like more fullness. And I'm getting that this person kind of needed to like kind of see the situation from different perspectives, and definitely you mirrored that to them and showed them kind of like how they were really showing up in the world, and not like kind of their illusions about how they were showing up in the world. And yeah, they definitely, like, I think they felt obviously a lot of pain for the end of this connection, but they also kind of felt like a little bit of relief is what I'm getting. Like they knew that it needed to end, and I don't think they would have actually been able to pull the trigger on it, because I'm sensing that they felt like you were out of their league to begin with. Like they definitely feel a lot of like attraction and desire for you. But kind of, I think like after it ended, they almost like felt a sigh of relief in terms of like the pressure was off. Because they definitely needed that. Yeah, so there's definitely lots of conflicting like thoughts and feelings. Like I think there was a lot of pain, a lot of kind of not wanting it to end, but also like on a higher level, like understanding that it needed to, and that you guys weren't on equal playing fields at the time. And your person definitely wasn't stepping into their fullness in terms of their Emperor energy. And like kind of as soon as it ended, like I'm getting that they almost had a sigh of relief. Like I think that they wanted to stop fighting with themselves, and like wanted you to have what you deserved. Like they desired you and loved you enough to know that like you deserve something great. So yeah, like definitely while it was like gut wrenching and like a horrible moment, like right in the moment where you guys were breaking up, like I'm getting like as soon as you parted, your person like just had to take this sigh of relief that like kind of the pressure was off, and they had some space and distance, because they kind of like on a higher level, at least, I don't know if this is actually what was going through their mind, but I imagine it wasn't, that it was kind of for the greater good, definitely. Because your person had a lot of inner child healing to do to become a lot more emotionally available. They weren't really like, they definitely weren't stepping into their fullness, or connected to their, like the depths of their like own, like wisdom and emotion and, like spiritual knowing. Like they just needed to go, like they needed to escape this connection for a bit, and like focus on themselves and work on themselves. And honestly, I don't know if they would have done that had they not met you, because it seems like their love and passion for you was kind of like what was inspiring them to do this work, for sure. But let's see if there are any more messages about what your person was thinking and feeling. Like I think potentially like in the time since you guys broke up and haven't seen each other, like maybe they're consciously realizing this, but I think like at the time you're breaking up, they probably on a soul level knew all of this. Yeah, they definitely needed to invite a lot more self-love in their life, and I think they knew that they needed that in order to like kind of heal some of this solar plexus ego kind of energy that came up a little bit earlier, which has to do with like our will. What I'm sensing is they kind of needed to move from their solar plexus into their heart a lot more. Like I think they were definitely operating from their willpower and their gut a lot in life, and not operating from their heart. And so this breakup was kind of like necessary for them to create that shift, because I think, yeah, they were just like, all they knew was kind of like how to operate from their gut, not to like operate from their fullness and their wisdom and their like heart and their soul. And like there was just a lot kind of standing in this person's way. So definitely, like I'm not surprised the death card came out. Like I'm not surprised they kind of breathed that sigh of relief. Yeah, because they were definitely feeling like not enough in this connection. They knew that you weren't on the same level, for sure. Like with this Queen of Wands and King of Cups in reverse energy, they just knew that they just were not ready. And they probably moved into this connection because they felt a lot of desire and passion for you, is what I'm getting. But like they knew deep down that they weren't ready, especially because you mirrored so much of the stuff that they needed to work on to themselves. Like I think this connection definitely kind of highlighted how, like a little bit what I was talking about before, in terms of like it highlighted all the ways that they were kind of telling fibs to themselves about how they were being in the world, and caused them to actually reflect on their wounds and introspect a lot, and like learn that maybe they weren't in their fullness in terms of the Emperor energy that they kind of thought they were, and that they actually had a lot of work to do, because like no divine masculine is in their Emperor energy if they're emotionally unavailable. So yeah, they definitely realized they had a lot of work to do, and it was only because they like fell so hard for you that this kind of all was able to be like illuminated to them. I'm getting that, yeah, like kind of what I was saying before, like had they not like unconditionally loved you so much and had so much like affection for you, I don't think they would have realized all this stuff, and especially not if you hadn't have been such a good mirror for them. Do we have anything else about why pile 2's person, or what pile 2's person was thinking and feeling the last time they saw one another? I'm definitely getting like heavy, like kind of that moment just like created this almost like instant trajectory to a spiritual upgrade. So I trust divine guidance of my inner wisdom. All of the answers exist within. Like, I definitely think this has to do with like that sigh of relief. Like, even though it like absolutely killed them, this breakup, they knew that like inner wisdom was definitely telling them that it was the right thing, and that they needed to go within and like really explore themselves. And they wanted to become more radiant, prosperous, successful, and just like essentially more full to kind of match your energy. And they knew that they needed space to do that ultimately. And yeah, I think like definitely on a soul level, like as soon as you guys broke up, like all of this was kind of like unlocking. And I think potentially since this breakup, they've become a lot more conscious of a lot of this stuff. I think there'll be a mix of people here whose breakup was maybe a bit more recent and this is kind of like still very much in the background. And then there'll be people whose breakup was like maybe a lot longer ago, where this person's kind of like basically very aware of kind of like all of this stuff that's come up since you guys ended your relationship. But I think that's enough for one day. Pile 2, I hope you got everything out of this reading that you wanted or needed today. And if your reading resonated, please like, comment, and or subscribe, because I would love to see you on, I would love to see myself on your page again very, very soon. So if you do that for me, that will help make that happen. But I will leave that there for today, and I appreciate it if you made it all the way through. Thank you so much. Hey there, pile 3, welcome to your reading for what your person was thinking or feeling the last time you guys saw each other. This is going to be a general reading, so take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Remembering that there will be some messages here for specific people and better interpretations for your situation. So just utilizing your discernment around all of that. But let's get into your reading. So we're just going to use this traditional tarot to find out, oops, I put the crystal off to the side, that's not going to be helpful. To find out what your person was thinking or feeling the last time you guys saw each other. What was your person thinking or feeling the last time you saw each other? What was your person thinking or feeling the last time you saw each other? Oops. Okay, there's a lot here, guys. There's a lot. Okay, I'm kind of getting a positive reading, to be honest. Like, just a lot of positive energy. Can we clarify this 3 of Swords, please? Can we clarify the 9 of Wands? And the 8 of Cups and 10 of Pentacles. Okay guys, I am immediately super feeling super excited. And I wasn't before this reading. I've done some heavy reading, so this excitement is like, I feel like definitely channeled from your person. Like, I would be very surprised if this wasn't a very either new cycle, like new person, new beginning, like new romantic cycle, or just like kind of like, if you guys are like have history, like I would hazard a guess that pretty much all of that history is very, very far behind you, because this feels super, super, super like fresh, new, exciting. Yeah, there's just, oh, it's positive, it's good. There's a lot of good energy here. So if that's not you, maybe just checking in with your intuition around if there was another pile that was maybe calling to you a little bit more, because I'm getting like a lot of like good vibes here, and like kind of newness and freshness and excitement. But what I can say, pile 3, is your person is like dying to kind of like speed things up with you, come forward in a like really big way and like make a grand gesture, and like they're just feeling like so much passion for you is what I'm getting. So the 3 of Swords in reverse usually indicates like just a desire for like closeness. Also, like you've got the 7 of Cups, like imagining a future. This person definitely I feel like is like maybe a King of Pentacles energy. Like they're kind of feeling like their best self with you. They're kind of like stepping into their fullness. It's kind of like I'm getting like maybe more of a divine masculine energy, and just like they just feel so inspired to get their shit together, and just like I'm sensing like be a great provider, like offer lots of like offer a great container for you. Like I'm kind of getting like they essentially like they want to be like, I'm getting like heavy like married or engaged vibes, like they want to propose to you is what I'm getting from this King of Pentacles energy. And like they definitely feel like they found their person who they want to spend the rest of their life with. And like someone who like I'm getting that you just like alleviate all the stress and depression and just like shit that they've been through in their life. Like they just feel so inspired to like work on this and like make it last, because like you make them just feel so good. And you definitely like I'm getting like heavy want to come towards you with just like a massive offer. Like 10 of Pentacles can be like a very abundant card, and it can be abundance to do with like finances and wealth. So maybe they're wanting to like financially support you, but it's also just like good quality of life. So maybe they want to offer like a really well-rounded life with you. Yeah, they're definitely, I'm getting from this High Priestess card that like I think you excite them. Like the High Priestess can definitely ignite some excitement from people, especially like I would say this King of Pentacles energy would be very excited by the High Priestess. And also like I think like there's just like this sense of like intuition and knowing that you're their person for sure. And I think maybe you were a little bit unexpected as well is what I'm getting, because like maybe you were a little bit of a different choice than what they'd chosen in the past. But it's like it's, you know, it's the choice that they made with you, even though it's a little bit different from what they'd normally go for. Like it was a huge improvement. Like as soon as you guys connected, they were like, oh, like this is how it's supposed to feel. Like I feel so like inspired to pursue this person, because like they're against the grain in terms of what I was going for, but I wasn't actually going for the right people for me all this time. Like that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting from your person. So it's hard to say what you guys were doing the last time you saw each other. I assume it was a date, or like maybe you were just over at their house or, you know, something. But this person was just like hardcore, essentially like wanting to run away with you right then and there and just like spend forever together. So I've also got Queen of Cups energy. So this is like another intuitive kind of energy. I'm definitely going to say that in the past, maybe your person wasn't like, I'm going to say your person wasn't like super happy in their past relationships. Like I think the people that they were choosing in the past, like definitely just like, I don't know if it like they were toxic or they brought out the worst in your person, but I'm definitely getting that vibe from these cards. Whereas you feel like so much more like calm, safe space to them. Whereas like everyone else kind of felt like super turbulent and just like kind of kept your person guessing even, and like just kept your person on their toes in like all the wrong ways. Whereas I'm not saying that you don't keep your person on your toes, but like just the energy about you is so much more calm and reassuring for them. So yeah, they're definitely feeling just like super safe in your presence, I would say. But let's see what else we can get about what your person has been thinking and feeling around the last time you saw one another. We get more messages about what pile 3's person. Whoop. Okay, so the text here says, think of being alone as meaning you are all one and in total harmony with everything. The greatest treasures are those who wait silently during your quiet times. I think maybe people in the past didn't respect your person's need for space. Or maybe like maybe not he, she, or they. Sorry, don't know why I used a gendered pronoun. Maybe your person either in past relationships would get super clingy and not be able to feel safe in the time on their own, and enjoy their own space because they were like kind of like having all these anxieties about whatever their connection was. But because you're so calm and they know that your intention's pure and you're not trying to screw around with them, they're not like kind of like playing all these scenes on a loop and all these possibilities. And I think maybe, yeah, like they definitely feel space. They definitely feel like just calm. They feel like they can be themselves. They feel in harmony with you. They feel like they can appreciate quiet with you. Like they don't feel the need to talk all the time. It's just like general good energy. Like I'm getting such good energy from you guys. This connection feels really like beautiful, and just a really refreshing change from whatever your person had dealt with in the past. They know you just have like such pure intentions for them, and with them, like there's so much trust there. Yeah, so this is definitely a big change from who they normally date, I would say, but like it's a really refreshing change. Like I'm getting from the like thunder on this and lightning on this card that like when they found you, that was like they were struck by lightning. They were just like, oh, like this is what it's supposed to be like. Yeah, I'm getting that in the past they have not had anything that they could rely on like this, not have anything where they can like go get their own space and like actually be free to get that space, or feel like safe in that space for sure. They're definitely, yeah, they're feeling a lot. They're thinking a lot about the future for sure. They're feeling a lot of positive emotion. And there's just like so many action cards. Like I would not be surprised if your person made like a really bold move towards you, like some sort of action, like either asking you to move in or like get engaged or married or I don't know, something. Like this person, yeah, they see a real future with you for sure. Like they see like just so much potential. We also got 555 on these cards. So if that angel number resonates for whatever reason, there's your confirmation. 5 can indicate like change as well. So like you guys could be going through a real shift in this connection at the moment. Yeah, you're definitely the healthiest choice they've basically ever made. You're much healthier than their past partners, and they feel their mindset is so much better. They're so much more grateful and blissful, and like just a more powerful manifester in this connection. Like they just feel so good and so sure about you, and just like embracing like the change of this connection in a really positive way. Do we have anything else for pile 3 regarding what their person was thinking and feeling? Yeah, so this is another harmony card. The universe and my inner being are harmoniously balanced. You guys feel just so well balanced and great for each other. I do feel like lots of new energy here, like this might be like definitely new, but then this like this Hierophant like card could also indicate like maybe it's just a new cycle for you guys, like it's different from maybe the past. I would say for the majority of you here, this whole thing is new, but maybe it's just like a very, very new romantic cycle that's like totally different from the last cycle that played out between the two of you. Especially with this kind of yin yang symbol, like that can be like a kind of twin flame, like new romantic cycle kind of energy. But kind of just take whatever resonates and apply it to your situation. Like, you know what situation you're in. But yeah, there's just, oh, like I am in love with this reading. Like it's such a good vibe, like such a good time. But I think I'm going to leave that there, pile 3. I hope you enjoyed this reading and got everything out of it that you needed. It's definitely like a really good vibe, so like enjoy that. And if the reading resonated, please like, comment and subscribe. And I hope to see you back on this channel again very, very, very soon. All I have for you today. I hope you got everything out of this reading that you really wanted and needed. My name's Jade Rewilding and I will be on this page doing intuitive tarot card readings for whenever you need. So please like, comment and or subscribe so that you can be around for that. See you next time.